A long time ago, when leg, hand, head, and belly were living separately as independent entities, there lived a woman called Onunu. She gave birth to leg, hand, head, and belly. She had no husband because the father of her children was long dead. When the children were born, Onunu and her husband named their first son Leg, the second son Hand, the third one Head, and the fourth one Belly. She passed through a lot with her 4 children. She toiled and suffered with them to make ends meet. There was no help from anywhere to support her while training the children. After so many years of suffering with the children, they grew up to become teenagers and decided to go out into the world to struggle to see if they could make it elsewhere and return home to take care of their mother. Before they left, they bade their mother goodbye, kissed her, and cried and prayed that they will never forget their mom, that she has suffered a lot for them and they will never play with her. They bowed down for her and kissed her. Their mother was happy to hear all this and often prayed for them to be successful in their journey for success while they were away. After many years of struggle, Leg founded a village and became successfully rich with all the amenities of the modern day life and was crowned the king of the village. He got married and started having children of his own. Hand went on his own as they had separated when they got to a particular junction. Hand went on his own and toiled and later became successful. He founded a village. He was also made the king of the village. He got married and had all money could buy. Head also journeyed to another part of the land, founded a village after much struggle. He also became the crowned king of that land. He was so successful that money was a trivial thing where he was concerned because he had it all in excess. He got married and also started having children of his own. Belly, on his part, did not find success as the others had. He tried his best. He struggled all he could, but not a single way of success was opened before him. He was only able to get what he could eat each day as the days went by. He decided to go and meet his brothers for help. He went to Leg, the first son of his mother, and begged him for assistance, but he refused to assist him. He went to Hand, his second brother, for help and said, "Brother Hand, please help me. I went to Brother Leg to look for assistance, but he refused. I know you will not refuse me this privilege. Brother Hand, please help me so that I can establish as you people have established." But Hand also refused giving one excuse or the other for the reason why I will not be able to help him, saying he didn't have money for food, he didn't have, and in his palace there was abundance of cars, riches, gold, and all money could buy. Belly went to his third brother, Head, begging and kneeling down before him for help, but he too refused to help him. Why did they refuse to help me? A brother from the same womb with them? Belly will always wonder, crying in his helpless state. Oh, finally, Belly decided to live his life and manage whatever that came his way to make ends meet without bothering his wealthy brothers. With time, he got married, living and managing life as nature permitted. Meanwhile, their mother was still alive, living in the same village and home they had lived when they were born. They had left for many years now and forgotten their mother. She had grown very old with barely any food to eat. The house was at the brink of desolation, and she was always begging to get food to eat. The villagers were surprised she was always begging for food. They would tell her to go and meet her children because they were already well placed and kings in their respective villages they lived in. But she would not agree. After a long time of suffering, she felt it was nearing time for her to leave this world. I wanted to see her children once again and to also bless them. So one early morning, she set out on the proposed journey in search for her sons. The villagers gave her directions to her first son, Leg's village. The journey would take her 7 days and 7 nights to get there. She started trekking on foot towards her destination because in that remote part of the world, there was no moving vehicle as there were in the developed cities. There was nothing like cars, bicycle, aeroplane, or whatever in that remote part of the world. She trekked for long hours, and when it was nightfall, she would sleep under a tree. She kept on, and on the seventh day, she got to Leg's village and made enquiries to the palace. As soon as Leg saw her coming, he recognized her. And when he saw that people were looking at her and wondering who that tattered old lady was, became afraid of the impression that would give rise to. His mother walked up to him with a smile on her face, bearing her almost toothless mouth, and love shining up her entire world at seeing her son once again. But quickly, Leg told his guards to throw her out of the palace and shut the gate. Throw this old tattered and smelly woman out of here, he ordered. Leg, my son, don't you remember me, your mother? Onunu asked. I carried you for 9 months in my womb, nurtured you and your brothers, my son. And you can't say now that you don't remember me. But Leg will have none of that sentiment and emotion. The guards got hold of Onunu and threw her out of the palace and then led her out of the village. Before she left, she inquired from the villagers where Leg's brother Hand lived, and they directed her again to her village that was 7 days and 7 nights journey away. So she started that journey. On the 7th day, she got to Hand's village, and on sighting her frail stature and tattered dressing, also rejected her and threw her out of his palace, despite him recognizing her as the mother who suffered for them when they were little children. Onunu began to cry. Onunu, crying, made inquiries as to where her third son's village was, and was also told it was 7 days and 7 nights away from Han's village. She again started the third phase of her journey, weeping as she went along. How could it be that two of my children, carried for 9 months in my womb, can no longer recognize me? She asked herself within. No, I saw the light of recognition in their eyes, she thought. Riches, the material things of life, and the eyes of the world has blinded my children and made them to reject me. She nodded her head, lamenting as she sobbed along the way. Onunu got to Head's village, and as soon as he sighted her coming, he looked at her very well and asked himself within, that old tattered looking woman looks like my mother. I thought she's long dead. So she's still alive? He turned and looked around him, saw that the villagers who had always looked at him in high esteem were about and watching, said, who's that old thing coming towards the palace? Everyone turned, looked at Onunu and burst into laughter at the way she looked. Quick, guards, throw her out of the palace, he ordered. And immediately, the guards grabbed Onunu and threw her out of the palace. She could not believe what was happening. And like in a sober reflection, started thinking of what to do in her present condition. Her mind drifting to when she was struggling with these children and all their promises. When she inquired about Belly, she was told he lived in a nearby village but was very poor and living there with his wife and children. This time she was completely pissed over. She broke down and fell outside the village gate, crying all the more at what was awaiting her next. What's the point of going in search for Belly? She asked herself. If my three sons have treated me this way, what do I expect from the fourth? She asked herself silently. Definitely, it will be the same. I'd better head back home and die peacefully in poverty than face this kind of humiliation again, she concluded, turning back homewards. But another voice, another thought came into her mind. You set eyes on your three sons and not the last one. It's better you also see your son, your last son, so that you can die in peace, knowing you set your eyes on them all once again. Out of motherly love, she revised and started on the last journey towards where Belly lived with his family. As soon as Belly sighted her coming, he turned. He shook his head to be sure he was seen clearly, and for sure it was his mother. Quickly, he ran out of the veranda where he was standing and rushed towards the frail old woman, hugged her, and fell to his knees. Oh, mother, sweet mother, he exclaimed, I'm so sorry for neglecting you all these years. I inquired about you. I inquired about you from my brothers, and they said you had long been dead. I didn't know you were still alive. Otherwise, I would have come looking for you, mother. Please forgive me, he cried. He took his surprised mother in and told his wife to prepare warm water for her to bathe. She took her bath and changed into a new dress that her son brought for her. She ate and sat down with her son, his wife, and her grandchildren, enjoying the joy of motherhood. She shook her head in thought. No wonder. This often said, as parents, do your best for your children and never expect anything back from them because they may all not be there for you at your old age. Onunu was now smiling happily. At least one of her children had recognized her love, suffering, and care for them when they were young and reciprocated that love. About 2 weeks later, she told Belly what she had come for. She told him she had come looking for them to see them once again in this lifetime before leaving the world because of age. And he should send for his brothers. He should send for his three brothers for her blessings. Belly sent for his three brothers, and the next day the three of them, leg, hand, and head, came. They were landing with their helicopters. They were all in their helicopters, showing off, landing. The first one leg landed with his own, hand landed with his own, and head landed with his own. All of them, they came out richly dressed in their kingly adornment, and they sat down with their mother. She now said, Leg, you are my first son. Because of the world and all your richly possessions, you denied me. You rejected me and threw me out of your kingdom. Before you can make ends meet from now on, you will trek with your legs. You will struggle and hustle in search for food. You will search for what to eat with your two legs before you can make ends meet. Otherwise, you will never make it. They were all shaking as the words descended on them, for they had never seen such from their mother. And you, hand, Onunu said, before you put food into your mouth, you will toil with your hands. You will struggle with your hands. You will suffer with your hands. Otherwise, nothing good will come your way. She turned to face head. As for you, head, you will have to think with your head to work out what you will eat and drink in your life with your children, without which you can hardly make it. She said, and then turned to face Belly with a beaming smile on her lined face. As for you, my beloved son Belly, you will sit down and eat from the struggles of your brother. Leg will walk all over the place in search for food and wealth. Hand will toil with the wealth and suffer with his hands to produce and to amass wealth. And head will think. Head will have to use his thinking faculty to bring out forth, to reason out what he will eat and put in his stomach. And all this they will bring to you, belly, and put it inside you without you struggling. After they have worked and done everything, they will now put it in your mouth and it will now enter your belly. You will never suffer to eat. You will sit down while it struggle to give you food to eat. That is why to this day, humans must work, struggle, and think to make ends meet and put food in their belly. Hand, leg, and head were now merged to belly. That is why humans today have legs, hands, head, and belly. They all work together to feed belly. That is the end of my story. Subscribe, like, and share the video. Thank you.